All right, we're back. Give it a couple minutes here while folks start to rejoin us. All right, so we're back again. Thanks for joining us for another episode, a continuation of the same episode, live with LAFD. I'm Margaret Stewart, Firefighter Margaret Stewart, here with you again. So a little while ago, we went through and you watched Task Force 39. We're at Fire Station 59 in West LA. It's a training facility. You saw them do, if you didn't see it, please do go back and watch it. You saw a full task force operation simulating a structure fire. Now what they're going to be doing is simulating a Mayday, which for us is when a firefighter is down, trapped, or lost. So we're going to be using the same tower. They're going to go up, and I have a radio this time, so you'll be able to hear some of the radio traffic.
Members on the
And
hold on a second. We have a Mayday. Mayday.
Okay, so they're initiating the Mayday. We have the Rapid Intervention Company, what we call RIC. I'm going to turn you around so you can see them. So the RIC company has no other assignment. They're standing outside waiting for this scenario to happen. They're not engaged in any other actions. So that's what they call emergency time. That means a firefighter has hit their emergency trigger.
Advise we have a Mayday. Mayday. We've got a firefighter down on the third floor.
So now
we've got a firefighter down on the third floor.
The Rapid Intervention Company, RIC, is making their way in to find the downed firefighter. So you can see them making their way up the stairs.
I see Rescue Team 1 headed to the third floor.
Rescue Team 1, third floor.
And this is Rescue Team 2 is on
Rescue
standby.
Team 1, can we confirm how many people are down and how much assistance you're going to need?
Roger, we're making our way up there right now.
So you can see they already have their breathers on. They don't have air running yet. They're checking through, they're pulling out their equipment. That is for the downed firefighter, that extra breather.
Remember with the Mayday, go.
The extra face piece. They provide that to the firefighter in case their air is out.
Rescue 839. I'm lost on the third floor. I can't make my way out.
So that's our lost firefighter.
Firefighter Almaguer, Roger, from IC. We've got a rescue team coming in after you. Remember, you grab lives. How are you on air?
I'm good on air. I have 3 cars bottom.
Roger. Are you able to rescue yourself?
No, my leg's broken.
Roger.
Okay, the down firefighter for Rescue 839. He's good on air. We're gonna need Rescue Team 2 to help get him out.
So now Rescue Team 2 has been called in for assistance. So they're getting their gear and they're going to have to make their way up that ladder. It's the only way in. So they've got the gear that they believe they need.
Rescue Team 1, is there any additional equipment that the Rescue Team 2 should bring in besides their normal?
That orange piece of equipment is called a sked. It's a modified stretcher to be able to get someone out when you can't take in a full litter basket or backboard. So the radio communications you're hearing is between the incident commander, the downed firefighter, and the RIC teams. The RIC, it stands for Rapid Intervention Company.
Hi, Chief from Rescue Team 1. We're making our way down to the second floor with the down firefighter.
Okay, so that means they're able to move with him.
Roger. Second floor with the down firefighter.
And you can see they keep the incident commander updated on every step of the way so that they know exactly what's happening. Right now, I'm not going to be able to show you the action, but they're going to have to bring this firefighter out. So you can see them on the stairwell making their way down.
Hi, Chief from Rescue Team 1. Rescue Team 2 now has the down firefighter headed down.
So now they're making their way down with the firefighter. See them coming out. And they're gonna have to get the firefighter down the ladder. So they have to figure this out. We may have a delay in the drill here. If you have any questions, just give you a recap if you joined us late. This is what we call a Mayday operation. So we've had a firefighter that was down, trapped, or lost and needed our assistance. So we have rapid intervention companies, RIC is what we call them. Their job on scene is to stand by outside the structure, prepared to make entry immediately if this scenario happens, because a matter of minutes could mean life or death. So we don't have any delay. So you can see right now they're figuring out how they're going to safely get the firefighter down this ladder. And meanwhile, in the truck is where the incident commander is. So the Captain 2, as I said in our earlier episode, the Captain 2 is on the truck, and they're the incident commander until the battalion chief is on scene.
Any additional that you need up there right now?
I see from rescue team, no. We're packaging him up, getting out of the second floor window right now.
And so some of these scenarios, we have to find ways to just make it happen. Back up here. So the crosswise slide technique used with the firefighter controlling the movement all the way down. We've got a question from Miguel asking, if the building was fully engulfed, would a rescue team still go in, or do you have to wait till they knock it down a bit? You know, that's a difficult question to answer because it would be completely scenario driven. But we go into buildings that are on fire. That's what we do. So fire isn't going to stop us from going in to find one of our own members that are down. So now they're simulating. So as soon as we bring a firefighter out, we have to get their gear off of them so that they can provide the medical care needed. So that's what they're simulating that he's in what we call full arrest, meaning he is no longer breathing, his heart is not pumping, so he has no pulse and no respirations. So now they're going through the process. You can't just, you need to gain access to someone's chest to be able to provide shocks. So they have to be able to take equipment off safely while still maintaining an airflow. And so, let me see if I can get the mic so you can hear them talking.
Okay.
At this point, we would have a rescue would already be up here. They would be loading him onto the gurney and rapidly transporting while still continuing care. But this is obviously a drill situation.
Yeah, rescue team from IC, be advised you've got a gurney over there to your right.
Alright, so one of the rescues got it over.
So now they're going to get the gurney and the gear. So this is off of the paramedic ambulance. So the black box in his right hand is the monitor, which they can run an EKG, and they can also provide shocks if called for. So you can see they're going through the whole process. We're not just stopping. The captain wants them to have to go through this entire process, safely getting the firefighter onto the gurney. As you said, it's a young crew that a lot of them haven't worked together very long, and so learning how to do this whole process. This scene right here in real life is a horrible, horrible scene to see when you've got this many firefighters around one of our injured members. So that's why this kind of training is important, because seconds matter, minutes matter, and then he would be off in the ambulance and directly to the trauma center.
Got the patient on the gurney. Brought him back. He's good.
Somebody's Julia and the Joker. So I hate to break it to you, but there is no Station 118. There is no Station 118 in the LAFD. That is a movie rig from a company that rents them out for those types of shows. So there is no Station 118. The highest our station is 114, which is at Van Nuys. That's our air ops. Yes, that is a pass device, N5332. Let me turn this around here. So that's the conclusion of the drill. Let's see, if we have any questions. Yes, as I said, 118 is not a real station in the LAFD.
Come on back.
Let's see if I missed any questions. Let me scroll back a little bit. Let me kill the radio too. Now they're going to review the operation and talk about what went well, what didn't, what they need to improve upon. We do that after every incident. We call it a hot wash or an AAR. So we have a question from Blake about how many RIC teams come to a fire. So that's not a straightforward answer, because we don't have necessarily RIC teams that come to a fire. It is a assignment given at a fire. So we do have protocols that when we reach a certain level of an incident, then our USAR, our urban search and rescue stations, will respond in and they'll take over RIC. But it's just a standard structure fire that we haven't gotten to that level. It will be a duty assigned. So it could be any company, an engine, a truck. It's whoever the incident commander assigns that duty. Let's see. West Coast Fire Media asking about if there's a risk for the building to collapse, would we still go in? We're going to go get our member. We're not going to leave someone behind unless there is absolutely no way we could possibly get them out. It's just, it's one of us. We're going to go get them. Let's see. Just looking, if you have any more questions, let me know, or we will probably be signing off on this session. And hopefully, somebody asked, there were 2 alarms going off. It was possibly the low air alarm. Say that. Oh, that's my colleague. He's answering questions, so I'll let that go. Someone's asking if this is the new Station 39. No, let me flip you around. I'll give you a quick look. This is actually a tower that is attached to Fire Station 59. This is not a new fire station. This tower is not used for an academy. This is used for company draining only. So this is attached to Fire Station 59, which is on Olympic. Give you a quick look inside. We're not going to impose on them. But we have one of the paramedic supervisors, there's an engine, and there's a rescue here. So this is Fire Station 59. And over here, I think they talked about doing some drafting operations, but this is a setup where we can do what's called drafting, which is simulating an engine doesn't have a hydrant, doesn't have a water source, so they use a swimming pool. It could be the ocean, it could be any variety of things, but they can set this up here to be able to do a drafting operation. Somebody's asking if this is in West LA. It is. It's on Olympic in West LA. All right. Should we give you a quick peek inside engine 39? You guys want to take a look? We'll show you what it looks like from the engineer side. So in the LAFD, we have 4-person engines. So the engineers drives the rig, the captain sits up front. The back two firefighters we call hydrant on this side and nozzle member on the other side, because when we pull up to a structure fire, I think I've got, no, not zoomed in, the hydrant member is the one that's going to jump out and do what we call laying a line. That's the supply line that you saw on the earlier session that goes to the hydrant. Whereas the firefighter on the right side is the nozzle member. They're going to jump out and get the hand line going and go in with the captain. So we have a 4-person engine. Take you inside. So this is the engineer's spot. This is a KME. I don't know what year this is, so sorry, I have to get the logbook out or ask the engineer, but it's a KME rig. So this MDT, this is where the calls come through, so they have the information to see. These controls up here, all the lights. There's spotlights around the rig that they can use to create, to give light where they need to. This lever is what allows the engine to go into pump. So in order to run that, you have to engage the pump here. What else? We have maps because they'll often be covering areas that aren't there first in. And so the firefighters will grab the maps and help direct the engineer in. Also let them know where the hydrants are. You can see nozzle member sits there, hydrant member sits there. We all have headsets because it's quite loud in here, especially when the sirens are going, so it allows us to communicate. Any questions on the inside? Let's see. Okay, let me safely get out of here. Whoop, I'm caught. We'll give you a look in the back of the rig. All right, so this is, as I said, this is the hydrant member. These seats come up, give you a little bit more room. Axes in position, our gear, our brush gear. The general back of an engine. And then we'll give you a quick look. We showed the engineer pumping on the last session, so you can see more of that live. But on LAFD, we carry 3 hand lines on the transverse bed. So this is 1 inch, which is primarily used for brush fire, maybe some little rubbish fires. This is 1.5 inches, and this is 1.75 inches here. On this kind of a structure fire, we would take in the 1.75 inches, which is why you can see that bed's almost empty. So this is the engineer's panel. This right here is what we call the keystone. That's the primary inlet. So the supply line from the hydrant would come in here, and then these are all discharges for the hand lines. So you can see down at the bottom, these are the 1.5 inches. We call this the manifold. And there's also fittings to change all of these. So like here, you can see we've got fittings to reduce it down to a smaller size. So these are the 2.5 discharges. This is how you control foam, if we need foam in the line to help extinguish the fire. Stay home Cheez-Its. Who knew a tour of a fire engine could be so entertaining? Well, thank you. I hope this is. These are the displays, the nozzle, or sorry, I'm trying to think quickly here. This tells you your discharge and your intake PSI. So the engineer can see how much water is coming in and how much water they're putting out, because you cannot have your goes into be less than your goes outa. So you can't put out more water than you're bringing in, otherwise you have what's called cavitation, which means the engine is running dry and it'll collapse on itself and bad things happen. It makes really bad noises and we don't want any of that. I'll give you a quick peek because I showed you fittings. Oh, sorry. There we go. So I showed a little bit of this yesterday on our session at 4s, but this compartment on all our engines is our fitting compartment. So you go to any LAFD engine, you open this compartment, and this is what you're going to find. What I like to point out is, if you can see that this is a platform here, that this is the actual base of the compartment, and this is a platform, and every one of these fittings has a very specific place to go. They don't just go randomly, and all of this is done, it's designed, built, and paid for by the firefighters and the engineer. The chrome, the labeling, they don't come this way, but we take a lot of pride in what we do, and so they put the time and the effort and the money into creating this. So everything, so like right now when things are missing, they know that these are not here. And so when all the equipment's gathered back up, every spot will be filled, or we'll know, hey, that fitting is, being chromed or whatever the scenario is, but we'll know why stuff is missing. So that's a look at, and always check. All right. Let's see if there are any, are there any fittings held down by, no, they're not magnetized. They're all threaded. These are all threads. So if you see, you can see there. So it's the threaded on the outlet and threaded on the take. So there's no magnetized anything. It's all threaded. All right. So I think that'll be the end for this session. Let me flip it around here. Thanks for joining us. I hope you found that informative and entertaining. I like to show this because most people don't get to see it. You get to see the engines and the trucks drive by and maybe see somebody, working outside. But this is the kind of effort that we put in, day out, because we have a motto in the LAFD: train as if your life depends on it, because it does. And that's just the truth. So training is really important, and it's continuous. We never stop. So I might be able to get one more session in. I'm not sure. I got to see what the plan is for the crew. I hope you'd enjoy that and join us next time. Thanks. Be safe.